Chris Hahn, the aggressive progressive, is with us again. Are bad Republican nominees the best hope Democrats have, Chris?
Absolutely. Candidates matter. I mean, the French example is a perfect example. Le Pen was a horrible, horrible person who was the daughter of an even worse person. And I think it was very clear to the French voters, you didn't want to go that way. I remember when Harry Reid was facing a very tough reelection in a very tough year for Democrats, and he had a horrible opponent, Sharon Engel. So there were many, many examples over the years where candidates matter. It's up to Democrats running this year, as I've said to you before, to make this a choice between them and what they stand for and the person they are running against and what they stand for. If it's a national referendum on the economy, on gas prices, on what Joe Biden's doing on the war, it's going to be very difficult for Democrats in a midterm year because the president is still getting his feet under him. The economy is still recovering and still dealing with problems. And that's not going to be cured by November.
Okay, we can all agree the economy perhaps is not recovering. It may be getting worse, but that's a different conversation. This grabbed our attention in terms of what people stand for. One of the most popular Democrats, if not the most popular Democrat in his state, is Joe Manchin. 57% of West Virginia voters approve of Manchin's job performance, up from 40% during the first quarter of 2021. Over the past year, Manchin has doubled his approval rating among West Virginia Republicans to 69%. Yet this weekend, all we saw was Elizabeth Warren and progressive Democrats just filleting Manchin.
Well, Manchin's got to represent his state. Elizabeth Warren's got to represent her state. They have very different opinions on what the Democratic Party should stand for and how they should be. And, I don't fault either one of them for taking those positions. I'm not happy about some of the positions Joe Manchin takes, but at least I understand it when he takes it. I know West Virginia. I know the politics.
Yeah, but if you want to win,
the Democrats have no other choice in West Virginia but Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin's the only Democrat that can win.
Right, but if you want to win over Senate seats and win any kind of House races, that's going to have to be done with moderate voters. Yet there's this huge pull to the left not to learn from Joe Manchin. Race to the middle, you've got AOC on the far left, Marjorie Taylor Greene on the far right. If the race is going to be won in the middle, you've got a Joe Manchin, Mitt Romney model. I'll ask you a question I asked a more moderate Democrat earlier today. When does the White House have to decide between embracing progressive policies and trying to focus on turnout for November versus sort of tacking hard to the center and focusing on the suburban voters who flip from Trump to Biden?
No, the White House needs to focus on running this country properly and making sure things get done. Each individual candidate will decide where they want to run. For every AOC there is in this country, there's an Abigail Spanberger who runs a perfectly great center-left campaign, which appeals to the people in her district. And each candidate, they should not be worried about what Joe Biden's doing or what the national party's doing. They should be running their own race and making this a case between them and their opponent. And that's going to happen. Again, you started this off right on the right track, comparing what happened in France to what may be happening in here with candidates like Herschel Walker. You left out Dr. Oz in Pennsylvania, although he lives in New Jersey. It is a very, very interesting year. The Republicans seem to have all the advantages they can possibly have. But if I was Mitch McConnell especially, I would not start measuring my drapes in the majority leader's office. I have a feeling Chuck Schumer will still be there, my former boss, not just because there's going to be bad Senate candidates, because the Supreme Court's going to knock out Roe v. Wade, which is going to absolutely energize people in this party.
Well, the other flip side of that is that Republicans learned that very same lesson in 2014. It only takes one Ken Buck or one Todd Aiken, somebody who wins the primary, and then loses the general. Hey, Chris, great conversation as always. Thank you. Have an awesome week.
Nice talking to you too.
Yeah, always good. Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.